today we are going to reel in. We're going to reel in quite a bit of the headlines on the Biden Harris ticket, maybe just a couple of issues. And we'll start with those stories first. A lot more coming right up. Welcome to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. Hope you guys are doing well on this Friday. Hope you're doing really well. Thank you so much for coming in, and a shout out to the loyal patrons: Derek C. Williams, Killer Whale Channels, The Definition of Anarchy, Little Miss Goth, Chrysler Imperial H, Let the Truth Be Told, and Cold War Jesus, as well as AZ Infidel. Thank you guys so much for all that you do and for coming into the rants that I appear to be trafficking in lately. Thank you guys so much for tuning in on your Friday, and thank you so much for taking care with the channelytics on the thumbs up, thumbs down, and making sure that you're still subscribed. All of those things help out with the channelytics and staying in the fight, so to speak, around here these days. Shout out to Crazy Chick Sheena, and shout out to Alien Believers. Shout out to Let the Truth Be Told. Thank you so much for coming by. And also thanks so much to everyone who was able to come out to last night's test/rant. So you can expect those, but they are not quite, they're not symmetrical. So, if you're available, you're always welcome to come around. It's nice to have you as always. So I think, sorry about that, guys. I appreciate it so much. So we have, of course, I think the liners are going to continue to pile in. This is a rant. It's kind of partially a rant, but there's some ranting. There's some specific convictions to go with the rant. And so shout out to everybody in the stream. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this Rant This Way Friday. Shout out to Chrysler Imperial H. Thanks so much. I'm doing well enough, Chrysler. I appreciate it. Shout out to Crazy Chick Sheena, Alien Believers, Let the Truth Be Told, and the TR Show. Shout out to the TR Show for coming by. And shout out to, make sure, did I miss anybody else? Okay, I appreciate it. So once again, shout out to everyone who was able to hang out on the test/rant on yesterday. So I'll get going on a few things, but first, how the rants in the making. So, of course, Kamala Harris is going to have endorsements from the I don't want to say the powers that be, the technocrats. She is. Oh, thanks so much, Chrysler Imperial H. I appreciate that. Appreciate you doing that, throwing caution to the wind on the Rant This Way Friday. And I'm just curious as to, I think these debates are going to be, of course, I think everybody's trash and garbage is going to be laid out on display. And I think more people are going to come to the forefront and say, hey, she does not have, I've seen everything from, they've got the black vote locked up and da-da-da-da-da, which I don't believe that. I don't actually believe that, because I know people have had real time and real experiences out here, and they've been affected by, of course, the legislation and the laws that have been passed, of course, with California, with Kamala Harris being the AG at least 2 terms, and there's quite a few stories on that. But for one, we'll go to one particular story to begin with. So I'm actually curious for one, like BLM. Is BLM going to present a list of demands to the Biden Harris ticket? I mean, where does she stand on reparations? And I think you're going to end up with you're going to end up with an Obama 2.0. That I think is what you're going to wind up with, because she's going to play the black card. She's never going to leave home without the black card. But when she's asked very specific things as it relates to, when it comes to the when it comes to cultural things that and issues, whether it be immigration, that's where you're going to see the rubber meet the road. Shout out to Crazy Chick Sheena. So let's just get going here. We're going to go ahead and get going with our first story here. Now this one, so this is pretty much, we're going to center this rant around some of the liners that are circulating already, which of course there's going to be plenty of liners, but yeah, I think they're piling on pretty heavily already. So let's just go ahead and dig into those. Shout out to Alien Believers. Shout out to Crazy Chick Sheena. So, okay, we're going to get going there. Thank you guys so much for coming in, spending some of your Friday or your roll into the weekend here on Black Spring. I really appreciate that. So, all right. I'm going to give you a little bit of the verbiage on here. I'll jump around a little bit, but you'll be able to see. And we'll even we're going to track a little bit in Kamala's past, if possible. Just a little bit. Not going to be a super long rant, but there's just a couple of liners that I wanted to get into, and we'll see what else comes up. Try to get you in and out here. Nobody gets hurt on Black Spring. Rant This Way. All right, so first up, what you see before you is you're going to see the liner Jim Crow and Kamala the cop, another Blue Lives Matter ticket. So that's what you see before you. This was actually posted on the 11th by Tatiana Cozzarelli. And according to this, Joe Biden ended the months of speculation, of course, on Tuesday when he announced that Kamala Harris, the former Attorney General of California and current U.S. Senator, would be his running mate. Now, this choice is a blatant attempt to co-opt a movement against anti-Black police by nominating a Black woman who talks about racial justice. But Harris is not only pro-cop and pro-prison, she is responsible for locking up and terrorizing communities of color. So this is where the rant possibilities will come in when you see this kind of hypocrisy. And she's a walking contradiction. And it's just this combination. It's like, is this an exercise in, are they trying to see how many people they're going to lock up, for, I don't know, between now and 2030? I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is a part of the 2030 agenda. Maybe it is. There's lots of things that are playing out according to the UN Agenda 2030. So we'll keep going here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and joining me on this segment of Rant This Way on your Friday. So I'll take you back there now. So what do we have here? You got your premise for this whole bit. She's the antithesis of what the revolution is about. Okay. And I say the revolution, the BLM, the fake civil rights movement right about now. And, so she's going to do whatever she by now she has a mandate. Okay. She has a mandate, and Joe's going to do what he's told to do. he's going to do what he's told to do, as long as she's pulling the strings, and as long as he's still on deck. I think she's going to pull the strings. Crazy chick Sheena. Yeah, somewhere in there. Okay. All right. So, and then we're going to talk about some cred. What do we call it? Street cred out here. She's got some cred coming from some of the, the rhetoric. They get the Hollywood deletes to come out and throw the endorsement, of course, which that's going to sway the low information people. The low information voter was easily swayed by, Hollywood and the degenerates of Hollywood. Even if they have money, just because they have money, they're going to follow that up. So I'll just keep going here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is a rant. All right. In the past few months, we have seen the biggest uprising in U.S. history against racist police violence. I'm not familiar. This is coming from the leftvoice.org. They're a little bit. They're doing every now and then you get a couple of truths and a lie or whatever. You get a little bit of, I guess they're trying to balance this out. I guess it's better than CNN, right? Or better than Vox. So in the past few months, we've seen the biggest uprising in U.S. history against racist police violence. Millions of people have taken to the streets, and millions have supported the protest from their homes, afraid to leave due to the coronavirus. Anger has never been so widespread against the institution of the police, with some even calling for the total abolition of police and prison. So here we go again. You got every 4 years, this whole communist tactic goes. You got the people divided. People are divided. Okay, so now you've got to make it appear like you've got all this support. You got all these millions of people taking to the streets, right? Not just here in the U.S., but around the world. Like when I was seeing things like, the French saying Black Lives Matter, or I can't breathe, or, you see it in the UK, or you seeing it all over the world. Okay. So there's your appearance for popular support. Okay. So we'll keep going. And despite that, Joe Biden has chosen a cop to be his vice presidential candidate, Senator Kamala Harris. Thus, for the next months, we are going to constantly hear about what a great step forward this VP pick is for feminism and for the Black community, in a clear attempt to quell the anger in the streets and direct it to the ballot box. Okay, so here you got your other intersectionality comes up here, feminism and for the Black community. I'm trying to give up the con here. We're available. All right, so Biden seems poised to win the election, polling by as much as double digits ahead of Trump, who is facing a crisis due to his botched response to the coronavirus, which has led to hundreds of thousands of deaths. He faces further discontent due to his response to Black Lives Matter movement, which only served to fuel the flames of the uprising. As COVID deaths rise and the economic crisis deepens, the anti-Trump sentiment is sure to drive some people to the Democratic Party. And certainly, we have to fight against Trump and the Republicans. But looking to the Democrats to counter the racist, anti-working class policies of the Trump administration is a mistake. Neither Biden nor Harris offer an alternative to the pro-cop Blue Lives Matter policies of the Trump administration. In fact, Biden and Harris have been on the front lines of maintaining and protecting the racist police force and brutal prison system. And this VP pick is important as Biden is about to turn 78 this year. It is likely he will be unable to lead the party for long. So picking Harris as a running mate is picking her to be a future face and leader of one of the two parties of capital. Biden's VP pick comes after months and months of guessing whom Biden would pick to be on his ticket to attempt to get Trump out of office. In one of the last debates, Biden had promised a woman would be his VP pick, a clear attempt to win over, quote, or hashtag, I'm with her Democrats and the millions of people who have taken to the streets in the Women's March. So here again, there's that feminist element again that I talked about. It's back again. Now, if you don't remember, I believe Hillary Clinton was behind that same banner. I'm with her. And I think that's some of the fuel. That's part of the fuel now. This is a wave. Okay. There's nothing new under the sun here. So shout out to everybody in the stream. You guys are doing well on your Friday. So we're going to get through that pretty quickly here. So so I'm just thinking, this is not, I mean, do you guys not see there's a pattern here that I'm seeing? Okay. I'm not saying that you're not seeing or that you should see it, but I'm saying this is what I see. I'm seeing that we have two factions happening here. We have feminists that are driving a lot of this power struggle. And then but then they needed to hitch it. See, this is a part of the con. Okay. You got to hitch. You can achieve things with one issue, but then when you add another issue to it, this is what they refer to, the trend that they saw from the 60s, between the 60s and going into the 70s, the intersectionality. So here again, this is just another example of the feminist movement that they're trying to advance their agenda, because previously they had been relegated in the 60s when there were Black Panthers, the Weathermen Underground. They were relegated to making coffee and making copies for these organizations, but they struggled to get their agenda out there and their quest for power, if you will. So it's really not any different. When you think about BLM and the founders of that group, well, they happen to be women as well. So this is it's almost like it was foreshadowed. What's the name of that tune that Beyonce wrote? I don't know if it's probably less than 10 years old. Who run the world? Girls. I think it was almost, it was they predestined, or they prophesied what they wanted to see. And I think this is what it's shaping up to be. But if you also look at the effects that this would have on the Black community and the effemination in the Black families, the destruction of the nuclear family, it all says this is about women advancing to number one. And it's very apropos, and it's a very auspicious occasion that you have a man that's dealing with cognitive and mental decline. He's lighting the way. He's going to be the way to get them there. So I just, and this whole thing about shattering the glass ceiling, you've seen, I think Stacey Abrams kind of kicked off a little bit, kicked off some of the climate when she lost to, I think it was Brian Kemp. And she has not, just like Hillary Clinton, she didn't let that go. She hasn't recovered from that. So this is just, here we are back again with Kamala. Kamala's running, they've passed the torch to her. So we'll see what's, shout out to Crazy Chick Sheena. So there again, I think that's a big part of the con. And I think people are not, we're getting all caught up in a whole bunch of minutia and stuff. And that's really not, it's about the revolution. I think this is more about a fluidity. Let me get in this toolbox of lexicon, other wordsmithing, other word salad. This is about the feminists and their subsidiaries and their spectrum of sexuality, doing whatever they need to do. They're going to use whatever they need to use to rise to the top. So there you go. I think that's I think that's on the docket here. I really do. And they don't care if they have to use the death of a Black man dying on the streets in front of the world They don't care. It's not about that. It's about them. It's always about the revolution. And for the first time ever, do you guys realize that Kamala Harris would be the most powerful woman in the world if they are successful? She'll be the most powerful woman in the world and the leader of what was formerly known as the free world, leader of the free world. Because I see so many things that we're folding up. The liberties are going away. In fact, you're starting to see the global effects, because I think we've got maybe the Dutch government. I think we've got some of the European governments that are saying, look, we're not. Joe has said that he's going to mandate the mask, and you've got some of the European governments that are saying, no, we're not following that. We're not going to be doing mask mandates. Shout out to everybody in the stream. I appreciate you guys coming in and taking care with your thumbs up and thumbs down. Shout out to JT Waterman. You see what I'm saying? JT Waterman, you're on the dime, or you're dropping the hammer on that. Right on the dime. He says Biden will make Harris president, who will give it to Pelosi. Now the first part of that, but you said she will give it to. I've heard talk about Pelosi. Now Pelosi did do a little bit of foreshadowing, I think, last fall. I think, I'm not sure what was it during, what was something that was happening at the White House. And I think something came up about Trump, and something came up about his well-being. And then, it was a plural of hearsay on that, in reference to Trump. And then I think that's when Nancy, even during the impeachment, I think she's been jonesing over her opportunity. These people are power hungry, and they're power struggling. And they don't care what they have to do to get it. The fact, Hillary's still walking around. And then speaking of that, I won't go to AG Bar. I'll save that for another time. We'll see. I'm just thinking, I think something about the Durham report is possibly coming out. I think maybe AG Bar did a I guess an impromptu appearance last night on somebody's show. I'm thinking something is supposed to drop today. I don't know. What do you call that? They call it not a teaser, but I think he leaked out something's going to be dropped today. Shout out to Chrysler Imperial H, who says, no offense, ladies, in here, history repeating itself. They're afraid that that's going to turn back to women. Stay home, be barefoot, and pregnant to take care of the house. Interesting. Yes, JT Waterman. Yes, I think we're trafficking in the same in some of the same points, same hypothesis. It's about them keeping control and getting commie into America. Yes, that's where I am on it. I think it's about a communist revolution. And they've been neutralizing opposition. We've had deaths. We've had a lot of deaths around the country. We've had a lot of violence. And I can't say that I see an end to it. I don't. And I will tell you what my concerns are. I'm concerned about the vaccines and the Second Amendment. Everybody by now, if you're a conscious voter on any level, you've got some convictions by now. But I have some. And let's keep going here. Shout out to everybody that's in the stream. Crazy Chick Sheena says Biden is dementia Joe and can't leave the country. JT said Biden said, who gets VP had better be ready to take over. Yes. Because I just think he's just teleprompting right now. And I don't know how. I'm wondering how's he going to manage a debate? I don't want to do too much of a hypothesis because we're early in this, but I know that politically things have been murky, and there's, they've been murky, but I think every now and then or left and the right, they'll tell you exactly what they're thinking or what they're going to do or which direction they're going to go in. But you just don't know who's going to draw, who's going to turn, who's going to be the pivotal point. And JT says, yes, something big is to come out today. Exactly. Chrysler says, I was referring to the feminists. Thank you so much. And JT Waterman says, Trump has a press coming up soon. Okay. Yeah. Even on a geopolitical, I think there's something going on in a lot of things are happening geopolitically. So I'm going to say this. I do think that the whole world is watching what's going on here in the U.S. and they're taking many notes. And I think it's going to, they're watching everything. I'm going to be honest. I think this is pretty disconcerting and it's pretty disgusting. I think people people abroad are watching American politics more than the American people are. I think they are. Let's see. Shout out to JT Waterman. Thank you so much for coming in. He can't, and Harris left. Didn't take any questions after he made it clear who his VP was. Well, let's see. Okay, I'm going to go away from this article just a little bit. But here, let me get to parts of my rant because I'm not going to keep you guys on here long because this is turning out to be less of a rant and more of a regular. But this is the thing. I don't know how Kamala is going to have the support of the Black community considering her record. I don't know how she's going to, during a debate, I don't know how she's going to defend all of the things that she's done. And if she just shrugs her shoulders and say, it was just my first year, or it was just a debate. She's such a fraud. She's just such a fraud. And I've heard people relating to her as a moderate. She's not a moderate. She is not a moderate. She is a radical in her own right. How do you flip-flop like that? Ay. Shout out to everybody in the stream. JT said she will go to bed well. China wants us to follow Democrat leadership's help. Well, the thing about it is, crazy chick Sheena, I believe it was David Rockefeller that said, in the New York Times, that China should lead the New World Order because America led the previous one. That was New York Times. So I'm not surprised. I'm really not. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be that easy for Kamala to snap votes in the Black community. I don't. And it's probably not just the Black community. I don't think she's going to be able to, just communities of color, that part of the article, I can see that, it's like she's not going to be able to snap that because she's done things, she's an opportunist. Okay. And what better way to get to be I just wouldn't, with that much power, considering her record, who would trust her with that much power? So I'm going to move on to the next. This is a bit of a primer that I was giving you with this first liner. Yeah, but then the progressives, what does she stand on? Does BLM have a list for her and Joe Biden? Are they going to do they support Harris? Are they going to support, and are they going to be tearing down the White House when they don't get what they want? When she basically turns it down, because I think she's made her points clear on reparations. Like that's going to come back to haunt her. So, she's got, a lot of the same lines. She's got some of the same one-liners as Obama already, that I think she's going to start serving up. So shout out to everybody that's in the stream. And not to mention, she's her truancy, her war on truancy was, pretty despicable. Shout out to everybody that's in the stream. I'm going to take you to another one. Thank you guys so much. Shout out to JT Waterman. Says David Rockefeller should move to China and stay there. No, it won't, because Dems have lost many of all nationalities. Harrison, part of squad, as Trump calls them. Shout out to you, JT Waterman. So I think I might have one clip for you in the rant, and then we will rant out. We'll be done in like 25 minutes, in less than 30 minutes here. But yeah, these are just things that are on my mind, because there were 6 people that ended up getting arrested for truancy violations under this war on truancy. And one of the ladies was, her child actually suffered from sickle cell anemia. And this is just one of many things. I don't know. I consider Kamala myself to be a feminist. I think she's a feminist that's hiding behind Joe Biden. Somebody else referred to her as a beard, Biden's beard, pretty much. So he needed a beard, so he got one, right? So what I'm going to do is, hope you guys are doing well. And of course, she's got the usual suspects endorsing her. Shout out to everybody that's in the stream. Let's see. I'll bring a little bit of clip from from Cherie Peoples. She was one of the parents that ended up, I'm going to let her tell you the story. She does it better than me. So shout out to everybody that's in the stream. Luciano, thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks so much. So I'm going to go ahead and play. This is Cherie Peoples, and I'm going to play her story for you. Thank you guys so much. The Rapper, thank you so much for coming in. The Rapper says, Yale discriminates against Asians and white students. Thoughts about this hypocrisy? I'm not surprised. Because that's a part of the, I think that supports their the progressives. They just want to be progressive. Shout out to you, JT Waterman. I really appreciate you for coming in. They just want to be progressive and get that, we're talking about academia. When you talk about academia, people are trying to get their tenure. They're trying to get, they claim they're progressing. They're trying to propel society forward. If they don't want tenure, they're trying to maintain it by, in this culture, that's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for them to traffic in all of these ideologies and this postmodernist garbage. It's an opportunity for them, because the Asians have their own culture. They have their own set of values, and of course white students are going to be White students are becoming the all-purpose demon and the all-purpose straw man. So I think it works out. It works out. The elites, they just destroy themselves all the time with their own weapons. Shout out to everybody. And they're also they're also useful idiots for people like Kamala Harris. She'll probably tell people, yeah, I support reparations. Yes, I support defunding the police. She'll, all the cackling that she does. She'll say yes to anything. She'll say all of that. And when she gets in, it's done. It's done. So let me go on to this clip here. So this is going to be the story of Cherie Peoples. She was arrested for the truancy due to her daughter having the sickle cell. And that is a disease that is also affects it's a higher rate in the Black community. So I'm just thinking, if all of these things come out and people still vote for Harris, you get what you deserve. You're going to get what you deserve, all behind skin color. You worship your skin color, and this is what you think you deserve. You want to be oppressed, depressed, suppressed, then this is what you're going to get. Because I don't think Kamala is not a compassionate person. She's not. She's just not. And she'll say anything. All right, so I'm going to get you this clip right now. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. I'm going to share this with you right now. Now, this happened. This was the Orange County. I think there were about 6 women that were arrested. But this woman's story is unique and pretty stressful. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Rant This Way.
Morning, you guys. It's me. I'm chilling out in my hope room right now, just trying to get myself prepared for my day. I call my day in court because I have to go to trial for truancy because my daughter have sickle cell and she missed a lot of school. You heard me, trial. I got arrested for truancy April 18th of 2013. My my newborn son at the time, father woke me up after a long night of non-sleep, being up with my colicky son. Sheree, somebody at the door for you. And I thought he said the police. When you half sleep, half up, you're really not paying attention. And I go down the stairs, and to my belief, it was 2 police officers in front of my door. So they said, "Are you Sheree Peoples?" I said, "Yes." And they told me I was under arrest for truancy for Shayla Rucker. I'm like, truancy for Shayla Rucker? Huh? My face just, it didn't make sense to me. I couldn't put it together in my mind because I know I just had meetings with this school. I know I did. I'm like, I just had a 504 plan. We just had an IEP meeting because they just denied her IEP. And I'm like, I just talked to y'all, and I'm thinking, they were there to help me. And he said, "No, Miss Peoples, have a warrant for your arrest." I said, "So you telling me you're going to put handcuffs on me?" He was like, "Yeah, it's the law." I'm like, okay. So I said, "Can I use the bathroom then?" He was like, "Yeah, you can use the bathroom. Go upstairs." I use the restroom, and all I could think about is like, I don't have no thoughts. I didn't know what to think at that time. All I can do is just shake my head like, oh my God, I'm going to jail. That's all I kept saying. I'm going to jail. I'm going to jail. Like for truancy, I can understand going to jail for something I did.
All right, guys, just one quick second here. I want to give you a little bit better context on this. So this is one of the women or parents that were arrested under the truancy war on truancy. So with that said, I just want to bring you the author of this just for a second, just to give you a little bit more context on this. I just found this one, so I will pull it out and let you see what this was, what the premise of this was. But that is an actual testimony that you're getting from one of the people that suffered from this. So I'll just give you a little bit and I'll take you back there. Sorry about the order on this.
That was statistically proven between, I sent a letter out on my letterhead to every parent in the school district outlining the connection that was statistically proven between elementary school truancy, high school dropouts, who will become a victim of crime, and who will become a perpetrator of crime. We sent it out to everyone. A friend of mine actually called me and he said, Kamala, my wife got the letter. She freaked out. She brought all the kids into the living room, held up the letter, said, if you don't go to school, Kamala's going to put you and me in jail. Yes, we achieved intended effect.
In the mid-2000s, as San Francisco's district attorney, Kamala Harris began filing charges against parents whose elementary school children were consistently missing school. A few years later, she persuaded the state legislature to adopt harsher penalties for truancy. Under the new law, parents of truant children could face a fine of $2,500 or more, or 1 year in jail.
All right. Thank you so much for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn, and I will take you back to the other story. Sorry about that, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on the rant. So this is Cherie Peoples from that time period.
That I stole something or I hurt somebody, I can understand going to jail for that. But going to jail behind something I have no control over, I just couldn't put two to two together. It just didn't seem right. So I proceeded and I kissed my son goodbye. I asked the officer if I can kiss my son, and he was like, yes. And, you know, they was trying to be extra polite to me. And I couldn't understand it. Like, why are they trying to be so nice and making sure I get my cell phone, making sure I have my jacket and so I can call upon release? I just didn't get it. I was so lost. So they made sure I had my things. I proceeded to go down the stairs. And before they opened the door, they put the handcuffs on me. And I can just feel the coldness from the cuffs and the sound. I don't see how people can just get arrested and be okay with it. But he opened the door and it was really bright outside and the sun was beaming right in my face. Because my door faces east the same way the sun rises. My sun rises to the east. And I can hear this clicking, click, 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 click. And I look, and it was cameras and people taking pictures and all kind of just people. Officers, people in uniforms, people in regular clothes, people. It was just a lot of people. I thought, like, if you would have just looked around like I was Jeffrey Dahmer or I didn't murder somebody, as many people as it was. They had social workers to take my son away if somebody wasn't there to care for him. And I was like, wow, all of this for little old me. Even the worst criminals don't get this sometimes, you know? So they took me down to Santa Ana. They booked me. It was so funny because the officers even left a warrant at the police station. So they had to go all the way back to get the original warrant before they can even process me. So I just sat there in a holding tank until the officer go back and get the warrant. I sat there in that jail cell talking so much. Ooh, excuse my language, boy, but boy, I was talking crap. Them women in there could have been pissed off, ready to fight me because I was in there talking crap. No, the heck, they didn't just arrest me. I can't believe this. My daughter have sickle cell. I was in there talking mess. They released me that same day. And all I can think about is just, I didn't even know what to think. I didn't know who to call. I was just confused. The moment of confusion, the moment, just being in that moment. I go home. My son father come and pick me up. I go home. I hear a little piece about parents being arrested, but I didn't really catch the whole story. And I had a really good friend of mine tell me to Google myself. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the power of Google, the power of the internet is very powerful. Let me tell you, because I Googled myself and she told me to make sure I sit down and have a clear head before I did it. And I couldn't understand what she really meant by that because evidently she must have been online and seen it. And I did. I Googled myself. And this is what came up. Sheree Peoples, Orange County OC Weekly. 6 parents arrested. Keeping kids in school out of gangs. Out of gangs? What? Can you believe this? A gang? Me? Sheree? A gang? Orange County? Shayla? Like, for real? What? I don't even know any gangs out here. I don't even know what they call. Let alone, I don't even have time. Like, gang? I wasn't raised out here. This ain't my folks. This ain't my territory. So I started clicking on different things and scrolling down, trying to figure out exactly what was going on. And there was a couple of things that really stood out to me. And one was Orange County District Attorney press release. Yes, a press release. I said, oh, so they knew what they were planning on doing. They knew it from day one. They knew it. Oh, so Sheree started doing her research based off what they were putting in the press release, right? So I scroll down and I see my name right there. You see it? Defendant Sheree Peoples. Then I read on down. It talks about social services and how many absence she has. But the one thing that helped me was the dates that they had listed on here. And the one date that stuck out to me was November 12th, 2012. I said, why? I just had a 504 plan meeting November 2nd. 10 days after my plan meeting, they decided to start this whatever truancy stuff on me, right? I was like, wow. They didn't believe me from day one. The power of the internet, right? Then it says on January 18, 2013, letters were sent home to Peoples, and her child has accumulated 20 unexcused absences. I'm like, oh my God, are you serious? I call a school. Then it says, oh, well, defendant was offered counseling, parenting classes. OC GRIP personnel conducted 2 interview meetings to try to help the defendant. The student was provided the opportunity for mentorship through the Big Brother, Big Sisters of Orange County, a mentor at school, monthly meetings with law enforcement officers, a case manager, and number of incentives to encourage regular school attendance. Incentives, encouragement, the girl has sickle cell. She's ill. Not one letter got sent home to me about Nan, Big Brother, Big Sister. Nothing came to me about a mentor at school. Matter of fact, I requested it for her 504 plan, meaning never did receive it. Okay? What incentives? Wow. A year and a half later, this is now September of 2014. I'm still battling this case. And by the way, the original dates they indicted me on, they no longer in play. I bring them documentations. They throw them dates out and send a whole nother new set of dates. I'm like, how can they do this? I provide more documentation. And guess what they do? Now instead of just saying we're going to look at certain dates, they want to cover her whole school year, from kindergarten until present. Like, for real, they can do this. They can just switch things up. Not only are they doing that, they also took off the original DA that was prosecuting me and put one of the top DAs in Orange County on my case that prosecute murderers. Do I look like a murderer? I'm trying to keep my baby. I ain't trying to kill her. Because I won't take a plea deal. A plea deal for parenting classes. What parenting classes exist for sickle cell? What parenting classes exist to take care of a child that has a non-curable disease? What parenting class exists for parents like myself? There's nothing. There is no parenting classes that can teach me how to care for my baby. My trial, my case, I can't wait to take the stand to teach the world that we don't control their sickle cell. Only God do. And it's not fair, it's not right. But this is my story. This is my struggle with sickle cell. And I hope you guys educate yourself. The more educated you are, the more you'll be able to defend yourself and know what they can and cannot do to you. Don't end up like me, where you have to fight the court system and fight jail time for your child being ill. Don't end up like me. Educate yourself.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. So there again, that's a result of the war on. Anytime they say the war on something, I hate to say it, but look out, minorities. But you keep voting for these people because they have melanin, extra melanin in their skin, or it's just such a folklore and myth. I just wonder, what type of world do you live in when you walk around holding these kinds of things up? There's nothing wrong with being prideful about yourself or having high self-esteem or valuing yourself. But if it's based on, if there's no substance behind it, if it's folklore, if it's fairy tale, if it's failed liberation theories, then you're going to lose. And that's the biggest part of my rant. You live in the United States of America. You need to traffic in reality, and you need to traffic in research and self-autonomy. Jesse Jackson, that trend is failed and over. I mean, what did he do other than give us a segregated handle? African American. I don't answer to African American. if you're not going to, if you don't know where, if you can't really prove where I'm from, or if you don't know where I'm from, so why would you, if you can't confirm either of those things, then why would you even bother? But there again, I think that's where the culture comes from. It comes from the people in the people in the 60s, the Jesse Jacksons, the Al Sharptons, it comes from that period of time. The progressives is more damage. They've done more damage than anything. Yeah, was it Ben Crump, that letter that I showed you guys the other day? Ben Crump, with ambulance chasing people, they jump on everything. I'm just wondering, like I said, I'm wondering if BLM has a list of demands for Kamala Harris. Now, that has to come out. Because how does she go from being with the top cop reputation to just being a bystander? How's that going to work? The rapper, yes, but they think that they're, it's just, I think people think that they're actually hurting, that they actually can hurt Trump. Being passive aggressive hurts Trump. Yelling, kicking, screaming, oh, I want him out of office. That hurts Trump. And then they get behind all of these, street cred deletes. Oh, well, so-and-so's going to endorse him, and so-and-so was out there wearing a hoodie, and like Nick Cannon. These are people that I wouldn't. Why would you subscribe to anything that these people do? You don't live that life. You're not a part of that life. Do you realize these people think that these celebrities or these Hollywood people, they actually think they're above you. They're fine with you as long as you're buying their garb, or buying their white guilt like Oprah's selling, or if you're, buying her magazine with her face plastered all over every page, or as long as you're buying somebody's shoes. And many of these celebrities are invested in these industrial these prisons. So I just think, it's just a part of it's just another part. You're being a slave. You're being a slave. And believe it or not, we've all been slaves. We're all debt slaves right about now. If nobody knew, we're debt slaves. We've been debt slaves for some time. But to be a slave to people that are, because they have the same skin color as you, I don't follow that logic. I'm not trying to follow it. But they're being a useful idiot. You're being a useful idiot if you keep voting for these people. I mean, California has a host of issues, a plural set of issues. And if and it's been said, this is from hearsay, but I think it's more true. I think that, well, I've heard for one that California and New York are, what they want for the country is usually what you end up getting from their representatives. Hillary Clinton, I think she wants a model. She wanted California to be the model for the rest of the country. The rest of this stuff is just flyover country, is what they refer to it as. So everything kind of gets trial run. You get your trial run or whatever on these two bookend states, California and New York. But you can see what Democrat cities are looking like. And there's so much corruption and so many things that are being uncovered. And I don't know how much. Okay, it's fine. Like, how many more reports and how many more probes are going to do on past administrations or whatever. But by now, you have enough evidence to confirm or to support your argument. So what are you doing about it? It's just, I'm getting tired of the lip service. The lip service from the Jim Jordans, every now and then, they'll give you a little tease. They'll fill you up like what was it, like a Budweiser beer, but they certainly let you down. He'll fill you up on the floor or one of these committee hearings, and then the next thing you know, he won't support something, or Graham won't put somebody on the stand. It's very, disconcerting overall. It's a disgusting system. They think politically that that these people are above the law. The Democrats seem to be able to they can get anything to stick. You can throw crap up against the wall. The Republicans can throw crap against the wall and it'll be crickets. You will hear silence and it won't stick. So I don't know what's going to happen. Do I think anything's going to happen with all these probes and these reports? I'm just not convinced. I just think that I do believe that there's a lot of people, a lot of forces behind the scenes, a lot of financiers behind the scenes that are running things, and they are going to be the ones. That's more of who I think America's up against in this election. That's the bigger thing. I used to think, okay, well, maybe Congress, of course, they appear to have so much power that they abuse, but at the same time, I'm not even sure that they're calling the shots. Not sure that they are. Shout out to everybody in the stream. Thank you for coming in on this rant. I'm probably going to wrap this one up. This is not as gritty as I thought it was going to be, but I'm just thinking, Kamala, I probably could go. I could probably not do another rant on her, because it's all going to just keep coming out. Everything, what does it come out in the wash comes out in the rinse. It's coming out. Let's see. Crazy Chick Cheetah says Africans don't even care. Fire Black people in America. Actually, they talk bad about. Yeah, that's true. Crazy Chick Cheetah. I've had my own experiences there. I just don't think that it's not an association. They are not struggling with their identity. They're not having an identity crisis of any kind. They are who they are. They're not trying to be converted. If you put them in a room full of Black people, they'll probably go to their own corner. I've seen that happen before. And I actually think that they consider, African Americans kind of mocking them. Like if you see somebody walking around in one of those, what do they call? Is it a daishiki or something? And they're like absolutely insulted because they figure, you don't have the experience or the cultural know about to even be wearing this. So you're disrespecting. You're trying to live and exercise in myth, but you actually have no idea what you're representing and what this means to the culture. So it is. I can see that. I'm just thinking, you can't. But I just think it's a slave mentality. You can't control people because they have melanin. You can't control people, period. But you certainly can't control anybody just because they have melanin that maybe look like your skin or something. You can't do that. You can't. But then I think that's because of the conditioning. I think being on the left and supporting Democrats and the way they treat people of color, Black, they have an ownership kind of a tone. I've heard Sheila Jackson Lee. Oh, well, where you have X amount of people working for you, where are they placed? She spoke about these people when they were talking. I think there was some bill coming to the floor in reference to diversity, or of course some woke culture bill that they brought to the floor. And so she starts asking, I think somebody on the Judiciary Committee, one of the Judiciary Committee people, somebody that was on the stand, taking the stand, I guess, during that time, if you have Black people, where are they placed? That I can't. She's hard to watch because she's always coming from a place of anger and crack that whip, and I got to show that I'm tough and I'm a badass on the stand, and you're going to face me. Grandstanding, parlor tricks. She's always full of that. Full of it. But I think that, but I mean, you would think that, and some people say, oh, people are waking up. I'm like, but you shouldn't have to bring, you should, the aroma should have woken them up by now, right? If you're making breakfast, if you're making breakfast, or if somebody's cooking something, eventually the aroma from that is going, whether it smells great or it smells like crap, whether it's burning or it smells great, you should start waking up, right? There's enough aroma to wake you up. And sometimes it's just a whiff will wake you up if you're waking up. But maybe it's all a dream. Maybe you're not waking up. But I think we're just, it's a season of many things. A season of, for me, I think it's gonna be a season of rants. This is not a true rant. I think when I decided to do it, I was more rant. I should probably do the rants as just right as they come. Like, don't add anything, just do it. Just rant. Just raw rant. So I appreciate you guys so much for coming in on this stream. Shout out to Crazy Chick Sheena, Luciano. Shout out to the rapper 10,000. Thomas Soul, Margaret Green, others have said that too. Let's see. Yeah, it's funny how the sociology departments and those same founders of the sociology departments from the Frankfurt School founding ended up coming to California, and was somewhere between, they started in Columbia and then they moved here. We have Marcuse, Adorno, and Horkheimer, and then there was another one from the Frankfurt School. We've talked about that. The 1960s was a founding of all these, to me, this whole communist coup, or this whole isms, study of feminism, study of Chicano studies, Black studies, women's studies, all these studies came out of those sociology department and those founders. And they were from Germany. So they wanted to, they failed with what they were doing there. So they came here with their nihilist ideas. And people have been miserable ever since. I mean, there were a lot of cultural things going on at the time. Like I've said, you had Vietnam War going on, you had different attitudes about that. But previously, the families were intact. You really did have that. That's historically there. But then you got the feminism and the revolutionaries rose out of that time. Shout out to JT Waterman. JT Waterman, the rapper 10,000. Shout out to Chrysler Imperial H. Thank you so much for all you do. Shout out to Let the Truth Be Told. He was in earlier today. Thank you so much for all that you do. And the TR show was in earlier today. Thank you so much, TR show, for coming in. Alien Believers, shout out to you. Thank you guys so much for taking care with your thumbs up, thumbs down, and on the Channelytics today. Really appreciate it. That kind of keeps us in the fight around here. I really appreciate it. And who else do we have? And thanks so much. Shout out to Chrysler Imperial H for sharing out the stream. That makes a huge difference. I really appreciate that. Let's see, who else do we have? Did I miss anybody? Luciano, shout out to you. JT Waterman, the rapper, Crazy Chick Sheena, Chrysler Imperial H. And Crazy Chick says, don't forget the South African white murders. I had Afrikaans white aunt in Johannesburg essay. She's back in Ireland now and safe. Oh, good for her. Oh, very cool. So let me see. I don't know. There's the press conference is going on right now. Let me see if I can find it. See if they'll let me stream any of it before and then we'll conclude on that note. Hope you guys are doing well and are got a nice weekend planned. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna try to stream this for you guys just a little bit, not a lot, not the whole thing. Okay, so here we go. We got your usual suspects. Okay. Looks like they're just at the podium right there. So I'll bring you that. If it's not too long. If it's not too long of a wait. Rapper, actually, no. The thing is, it's supposedly California is. I think some cities are supposed to be coming off the monitoring list. Who knows? You know, we've got nail salons doing nails on the sidewalk right now. You know, it's anybody's guess. But I will check into it for sure. But we'll see how long it takes. I'm gonna drop the link, see if anybody wants to come on and have a word or two. Appreciate it. I'm just gonna drop it out here while we wait. I'm not gonna wait longer than maybe 2 or 3 minutes to see if Trump's coming out. So yeah, it just keeps going on and on and on. You know, we didn't shut back down completely, but you know, they were, the numbers are up, the numbers are up. Just shortly after they opened, like some of the salons, they were shut back down. But the nail salons have they even put something in there that you could, if you could do like haircuts or some services that can be done outside. I mean, who can do anything that requires power outside? You know, unless you have portable chargers and just, you know, I don't know. I'm just thinking if these masks are effective, then if masks are effective and the distancing is effective, then why the Polar Express, the bipolar express? You know, there's just, I do think that Judicial Watch is actually suing Anthony Fauci. I think he's being sued. So we'll see what comes up. Let's see where they are, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate you guys so much for all that you do and your patience and your time on this Friday. I would nominate. Why don't they ascend on whomever? If anybody's to be held accountable, they're not going to do any kind of descend on anybody's home like they did Roger Stone. That was so much drama. Just FYI, if I have anything else for you guys later today, then I may do a Moonlight stream or Flash. All right, guys. So I think we're gonna have to we'll have to have some remarks on this later. Sometimes it takes them a while when they do these press conferences or whatnot. But I really appreciate you guys for coming in on this segment. So I look forward to, let's see. forward to seeing you guys later. Shout out to JT Waterman that says Pence, Fauci, Brinks all linked to PEPFAR, which links to the UN. Pence wrote a letter in 2008. Uh-oh. Yikes. Wow, this thing is a powder keg. And I don't know who's going to survive. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for all that you do. If you're interested, I hope to have something to roll out to you guys next week. Or no, I hope to have something for you, maybe even by the weekend, maybe even by the end of the day. So I'm going to just post this here. Thank you guys so much for all that you do. Oops. I was hoping to stream some of this, but it looks like it's not going to be happening. So not soon enough. So you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you on the next live stream, the next video in the comment section, or even on a flash stream, or maybe even on a moonlight stream. You guys have a great rest of your day.